Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Envy Jitters.
And I'm CheerandCosplay.
And it's not spooky month anymore.
Boo!
But I think to some degree we can kind of consider part of this spooky month. Because I think a couple of these people wore Halloween costumes for a little while. It's kind of died down a little bit, but, you know, we're back. And you know what? Hey, we're looking at another Japanese anime adaptation of an American property with Suicide Squad Isekai. This actually came out how long ago? A few months
ago.
But we knew we were going to be doing something along this line, so we wanted to save it for here. Yeah. How familiar are you guys with, like, DC Comics and stuff? Because this is going to be coming up a lot, probably.
You know me.
Yeah, I think both of us...
Extremely familiar.
We've both mentioned a couple times that we are comic book fans and like movies and
I'm
TV
especially
shows
in terms of the Bat family.
Yeah.
I am an expert, so...
Yeah. How about you guys?
I'm not really a comic... like, when I say I'm not a comic fan, that's not like I'm against comics. I just never really read comics growing up. So pretty much all my knowledge of comic books is either from comic book movies or nerd osmosis stuff. So
Okay.
Take that with a grain of salt.
We always do. I mean, take everything I say with a grain of salt as well. Cece, any experience with this?
When the Batman with Robert Pattinson was in theaters, we all saw that together. And before that, my only experience with DC was pretty much the first Suicide Squad movie and Batman vs. Superman, which I did not watch at all.
Oof.
I think I blocked out of my mind that that's literally all you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a terrible introduction. I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
You've made me depressed. I am now depressed.
Okay, well, listen.
I will continue to be depressed throughout the rest of this episode.
That one I only saw because we were going to the drive-in for Deadpool, and Batman vs. Superman was showing first. But I was like, I'm not paying attention to this.
I love the first Deadpool movie. I don't think it would be worth it. I would probably go somewhere else and hang out and then come back.
When we saw Batman v Superman theaters, I fell asleep through a good, 30-40 minutes of it.
You didn't miss anything.
I know.
Here's the thing. I feel bad for my brother. He had a friend who actually managed to do some movie reviews for, like, a newspaper. And so he gets to go occasionally to an early screening. And he was like, hey, Al's brother, I'm not going to say his name.
No.
Al's brother, do you want to go to the screening with me? It's for Batman v Superman. He's like, oh yeah, sure. I'd love to go do that. And he came out of it, he's like, that sucked.
Yeah.
And then, because I think it was, when did it come out? In like February or March or something?
February 2016.
February, right. So he was home from school at the time because he was still in college at that point. And our parents were like, hey, we should go see a movie all together since everyone's here. And what do you think we went to see? He literally said on the way, I do not want to see this movie again. It's like, oh, it'll be fun. He's like, it will not be fun. And so he saw it twice in theaters.
Oh, God.
Rip.
I didn't hate the movie, but I have so many mixed bags about that. I know we're not talking about the movie, but it just that movie is there's so many things about it that I like, and there's so many things about it that they just get wrong. So it's like a mixed bag for me.
I have a friend who's a huge fan of that movie, so I ended up rewatching it with him recently.
They exist, don't
and
they?
Yeah, they exist, and I still it just grated on my soul somehow. I don't know. I still did not like it the second time around. I don't know why. I do know why, but I could spend hours talking about why, so I won't.
5 minutes in, we're already off on a completely different tangent.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a record for us, but I'm going to throw out there the fact that we're talking about properties this month, and, they're very long. They're very, as a franchise, have a very long history, and there's a lot of different iterations of them, and we've seen a number of these iterations. We're probably going to have a lot of tangents in this month.
Yeah.
So this is just a fair warning. We will try to keep on track, but we've also,
I mean, I will say my 3 favorite things from that movie was Batfleck, Wonder Woman, and the warehouse fight scene. Those are the 3 best parts of the movie for me.
That's fair. It's not devoid of good things. It's just, as a whole package, is a problem. So let's talk about this problem. So, Suicide Squad Isekai. Initial impressions? I want to hear from them first.
Okay, I won't go off yet.
Don't let that taint your opinion.
Yeah, ignore me.
I mean, I already watched it when it came out, so I already finished it, and I liked it a lot. I mean, it wasn't a masterpiece or anything, but I had fun watching it, so I know I'm going to be the only one that likes it, but to each its own.
Well, you never know. Cece did watch the first Suicide Squad movie in 2015? 16?
2016.
16.
I think it was also 16.
Yeah.
16 was a bad year for me, and also...
16 was a bad year for the world.
So, unlike Batman vs. Superman, I actually paid attention during the Suicide Squad movie, and Batman v Superman, that's just like a blank void in my memory. I have zero opinions towards it. Suicide Squad I actively disliked, and had to sit through on more than one occasion.
Oh, no!
Yeah. Because I also had a friend that was very into it. So I went into this show thinking it couldn't be worse than that movie. And I do think that is correct. This show seems to be doing something. I feel like the entire plot couldn't be solved with just one well-placed grenade.
Yeah, probably.
Negating the entire thing. So there's at least something going on.
Yeah. I didn't like it. We could probably elaborate more. Would you think?
So, I'm gonna start with what I did like. I liked the animation. It looks awesome.
That's fair.
And the fight scenes, and like when you see the movements, like whenever Harley Quinn is fighting or something, I think the style is really good. Her movements are really good. Like in the fight in the first episode with Katana, it's like you could see the fight choreography and it felt really like realistic and good. As realistic as like it can be for like a comic book anime sort of thing. So I do really like the animation. And I think the character designs are good too. I think they're all really interesting and good representations of the comic book designs. And, you know, like even with Harley Quinn, even though, they made her look a little bit more anime, I think it was like a good, cute design for her.
I mean, you can finally say in your life that Harley Quinn's a waifu.
Yep.
It's legit.
Sure.
It's true.
Sure. She already was. She was in Batman Ninja.
Yeah. But yeah, so I like the designs. I really like the animation. I like the fluidity of the fight scenes. What I didn't like, I feel like I'm actually like neutral towards a lot of the characterizations. I wouldn't say I liked or disliked it that much. I just feel like it was like very middle of the road in terms of characterizations for these particular people. Like I've seen better and I've seen worse in various comics and various comic book adaptations. So I wasn't particularly bothered by many of them. But it certainly wasn't the best. It was kind of just like sort of mediocre, like surfacey versions of them. Almost like just a basic, like you read a summary of who they are, or you read a couple, like one or two comics, or like watch it, like not what I would expect from fans or people who really know comic books well, but like maybe just like the very basic versions of them. So like I said, I wasn't bothered, but I didn't love it. It didn't feel particularly deep. But I also only watched the first 3 episodes, so I don't know if there's more that comes later that like fleshes it out. What I really didn't like was the whole Isekai thing. That's honestly like my major problem with this. I feel like if it would have just focused on them in Gotham, I probably would have liked this better. If it would have just been a more straightforward, like, Gotham villain anime. I just feel like putting in an Isekai kind of just made it not very appealing for me. It was just a very basic, like, generic fantasy world in medieval times, and I just wasn't thrilled by that. Like, the world building's not really interesting to me. It just feels like they just were like, okay, well, we're making an isekai based on a comic book thing, so we're gonna go with the most generic isekai thing we can come up with. And it just, like, doesn't work for me. And I don't think it really brings out the best in these Batman characters or these Gotham characters,
They're not all from Gotham.
They're not all from Gotham, but these Suicide Squad characters, I guess you could say.
They just basically thought in Japan was like, you know what, let's take the Suicide Squad. What would be hilarious? Let's put them in an isekai.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know. I guess it's fine, but it's like, it does not appeal to me at all to just like throw those two things together and hope that they mash up. I just feel like they didn't mash up that well. And like,
would it make sense to you if I told you that the series was co-written by the creator and mangaka of ReZero?
Yeah, that would make sense to me, actually. I'm not too surprised. I actually,
I haven't watched that one.
I liked what I saw of ReZero. I saw the first season. But yeah, I'm not surprised. I just don't feel like I needed ReZero or like a fantasy world. I don't feel like I needed it with these characters with Suicide Squad. So that was my major issue. I wasn't bored during these episodes, but I wasn't particularly thrilled either. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I was bored.
No problem.
I was bored. I've seen such. I don't know. I think you're right. I think someone read a Wikipedia article and like got through the first paragraph for each of these characters, for one thing. I can't say that I'm gonna be like, oh, this is a terrible version of Peacemaker. I'm not that familiar with Peacemaker outside of John Cena.
Who is?
But, well, someone has to be. I don't know.
We'll find the 2 Peacemaker fans.
They're probably only Peacemaker fans because of the HBO show.
I'm saying the 2 fans of the original character.
Maybe this is an accurate portrayal.
Somewhere.
I mean, he's supposed to be like.
All right, well then, let me ask you this then. Based on your limited knowledge of the characters from this show, how does
he's the only one I have limited knowledge of. I know these other ones
because of the Harley show.
I know Harley because of all the different versions that I've seen of her and the comics and a number of other things. Same thing with, like, not as much Deadshot, but like Clayface and some of these other characters. I do know who these characters are and how they generally get characterized, and there are many variations of it. This is just a really fucking boring version of most of them. And
yeah, it's kind of like Clayface in this one. I do think it was done better in the Harley Quinn show.
You mean Muzan?
He was just more fun. Yeah, why is he Michael Jackson or Muzan or whatever?
They're interchangeable at this point.
It's like, and he wasn't as fun, you know, that's why. He wasn't like a bad representation of Clayface in my opinion, but he wasn't a particularly enjoyable one.
Here's my
He
thing.
gets a lot better later on, though. He gets a lot more
that's good to know.
flamboyant and...
But okay, yeah, he should have been a little more fun. Because like, here's the thing: I've seen 2. As far as talking about like animated series or something like that, if we want to talk about Clayface, I've seen 2 really fantastic versions of them, and they're very like opposite ends of the spectrum. I've seen
animated series.
The Harley Quinn one with Alan Tudyk, because he's hilarious and he is the most over the top kind of like theater person doing this like character. And then there's the far more tragic and like really compelling version that Ron Perlman did during the animated series.
Yeah.
2 opposite ends of it, and this is smack dab in the middle of just kind of boring. And I hate to say it, that's what every single character is here. I don't think they... Like, I think it's not dissimilar from Supernatural, I think. Though I think maybe Supernatural might have been a little better, because at least they were actually drawing from particular stories that, like, these characters went through. I think I'm also bored because I'm like, I could probably think of like 12 comics that have a better premise than this, that are just as, if not more, fantastical.
You liked Supernatural the anime better?
Better than
No.
Honestly, yeah, I think I did.
Oh my god.
That doesn't mean that I'm saying it's good. I'm just saying that this...
I'm shocked.
I sometimes think boring is worse than bad.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Because I can't say this is bad. You're right. The animation's fantastic. The character design, not my favorite, but it's really good. But it's also like, I don't give a fuck about this fantasy world. This is nothing to me. I've seen this 40 fucking times across multiple anime and webcomics and how many different things. And sometimes people will do an interesting thing with it. Sometimes they'll get a good character in there. Like, what's that one webtoon? Ultimate Florist or whatever? That shit's fucking hilarious to me. But it's like, it's primarily a comedy series. But, you know, you have this, now they're gonna get powers that some of them already have powers. What are we doing?
Get power up.
Do we need that?
I mean, it's hard for me to spoil it because you're probably not going to watch it, but it's hard for me to explain it because
spoil away.
They get powers from the world that they're in, and they kind of amplify a personality trait from each of them.
Yeah, it's an isekai. I've watched an isekai before.
But what I need a spoiler about them is the princess an AU version of Harley?
No.
Why do they look the same?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe they only know how to draw two women. We haven't seen Katana without her mask on.
No, okay. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. There's the queen that they show in the first 3 episodes. She's the secret main villain that's in disguise. And at the end of the series, they basically do a switcheroo where she fools the queen into thinking that she's Harley when she's not.
Okay.
And also the princess also was very sheltered growing up, very controlling by who she thought was her mother. So the princess kind of looks up to Harley as, the rebellious, free-spirited, which is ironic given that in this version Harley is still obsessed with Joker, but that's to each its own.
So it's just a Prince in the Pauper situation,
I guess.
They just randomly look alike and do a switch.
Well, I mean, what other Prince of the Pauper situation is? It's always a random person that just so happens to look
That's
like
what I'm saying. It's just that situation.
I will say, though, as the episodes go on, I will agree my biggest problem with the show is that I didn't give that much of a shit about the state of the world. But I do think as the episodes go on, I think the banter and the characteristics of the characters do shine. You do get a sense of, I don't want to say a camaraderie, but you do get playful energy like the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie. They do highlight their quirks and personality a lot more. They do have a good rapport with each other, at least to me. And so I that was the big thing that kept me going through the whole series, was just watching their interactions with each other and how they interact with the absurdity of the world. Because the main army, is traditionally fighting a different way, and then you have these other worlders with guns, or one's a giant shark, one's transforms of clay, and so it's like, what are these freaks doing in this world? And they're like, well, I don't give a shit about this. They're like, I'm doing it my way.
I could see some glimmers of good chemistry and stuff between Harley and Deadshot, kind of some good jokiness and stuff like that. So I can see what you mean by I could see it going somewhere where maybe there would be some fun dynamics between them.
Yeah, it's just I've seen better versions of Deadshot and Harley Quinn and Clayface. And you know what? King Shark's actually pretty accurate to what most versions of King Shark is, actually. So, I guess I'll give you points for that.
Let me just put it to you this way. My only, as far as the Suicide Squad itself, my only interaction of Suicide Squad are the 2 live-action movies and the Assault on Arkham movie. That's it.
I like Assault on Arkham.
So,
that's a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah, so.
Why'd they take away Katana's katana?
They do explain that.
I don't know. This is weird. Is she Glaive now?
Maybe she lost it.
Okay, you're not watching it, so I'll give you
I'm not
spoilers.
watching it. Tell me what happens, because I'm not gonna.
So basically, Amanda Waller originally sends a first team in to, help with this world, and the original team was Rick Flag, Katana,
Ratcatcher,
the Tinkerer, the Ratcatcher, and the Tinkerer.
Okay.
And something happened.
Terrible team.
Where
I'm just gonna throw out there, just terrible lineup.
Oh, and the Enchantress too.
Oh my god! Again, terrible lineup for what you're trying to do here. But okay, go off, Waller.
Well, I mean, Amanda Waller never gives a shit. She just
I know she doesn't give a shit, but every version of her, I think generally speaking, she's supposed to
Killer
be.
Croc was one of them. I
think generally speaking, Amanda Waller is supposed to be characterized as I'm a very smart, very motivated, and able to manipulate other people. And yet, every team she puts together in any version of I'm not going to count Justice League. She's actually pretty good in that one. I feel like every version of Amanda Waller that's outside of the comics is there are obvious flaws in the exact thing that you're doing. How are you not seeing them for someone who's supposed to be so smart? And I feel like that's a problem with a lot of the writers. Don't know how to fucking write her. Please continue. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Basically, whenever the first team first got into the world, either they got mind controlled into serving the queen, or in the case of Katana, she was working behind the scenes to try and undermine her, and also she was trying to protect the real body of the Enchantress, because you know how the Enchantress is. There's the material version, and then there's the human version that's kind of, you know, to the side. So she was trying to look out for her as well. So basically, new Suicide Squad, throughout the show, they defeat each henchman of the old team, taking them out and slowly recruiting forces and inspiring the kingdom's soldiers to fight alongside them.
You mean an isekai?
Yeah, I mean, that's in the title.
That's the bitch of this whole thing. It's just you guys are coming. I mean, you guys are coming into the mindset, and it's not wrong, but you guys are coming into the mindset of, oh, it's an isekai, I'm tired of it. Where I'm like, you know what? I don't want a boring isekai. I'm fine with isekai. It's a trope. It's an element. It's not the whole thing. I don't hate the idea of isekai. I just am sick of boring ones, because we've had like what, a decade and a half of those. It feels so uncreative.
I guess I could see how people who like really like isekais would, and also like comics, like I could see
there's definitely
that working for them. Yeah, I can see that cross section, especially if, you know, you just like it, whether or not it's like unique, you know, because sometimes like some people just like slice of life, or some people just like a certain
that's
genre.
Fair. And those people, yeah, great. I'm hoping they did enjoy this, because, you know, you deserve to have things that are fun and good for you and all that sort of thing.
Like, I could see it appealing to some people who are just like a fan of like that, whether or not it's a particularly like awe-inspiring version of it, you know. But I think for like me, like I, you know, tend to kind of like what Al was saying, prefer like a certain kind of like more unique fantasy world or whatever. But it's like, I think some people just like chill isekai type medieval worlds, and that's cool too.
I mean, you can still have that. Like, we both really enjoyed Slime.
Yeah.
And it's
pretty generic fantasy
generic,
world, yeah. But it has other elements.
You know, you have other elements of like characters and stuff who are like, do make it fun, do make it interesting. ReZero is a pretty fucking generic, as far as I'm aware. I haven't watched it, but I'm pretty sure
it's pretty good though.
It's a pretty fucking generic setting, right?
Yeah.
So the setting's not the problem. You have characters who are interesting.
It's not
ReZero is one of like the few isekai works that people actually consider to be legit good.
Yeah, but is it because the setting's so interesting, or because the characters are actually interesting? No one came into ReZero thinking like, look at this medieval world. I've never seen this fucking shit before.
Yeah.
But like, I think the Groundhog Day element of that is that one, right?
Yeah.
That element, unique, interesting.
Yeah.
The
Characters it had
like
unique things to it, for sure.
I've heard that the characters go really deep, and the character interactions are really strong. That is what makes that show successful, I would think. Again, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I haven't watched the show, but that's what I've heard. Neither of those has to do with the fact that it comes from a generic fantasy setting. It's a setting. You just have to make what's going on in that setting interesting. And I just wasn't getting that here. And I know that I am just butthurt because I've seen so much better versions of these characters. I know that's a big thing. I'm going to be real. Let's put this out there. Is this that big of a deal? Probably not. I feel like there's been way more times that America has taken an anime or some other property from Japan and fuck that to hell. I mean, are they doing anything really that different than what the writers of Dragon Ball Evolution did?
It's way better than that.
Okay, maybe.
Dragon Ball Evolution was a travesty.
You and me were talking a little bit before this about part of the element here of maybe this is just boring and not a complete travesty. Maybe I almost want to hate it more. I don't know.
Maybe.
But there is an element of like, when it comes to like manga and anime versus comics over here, the creators of those like characters over in Japan tend to have the actual creative control for like the manga and everything like that. Sure, there's going to be like stuff from editors and producers and stuff, but like it's a single writer doing a single thing, and they write their story however long it's going to be, blah, blah, blah. Over here, the characters are owned solely by the company. And it's like, we'll put whatever writer on it, doesn't fucking matter. And there is a wide range of quality for all of these characters. Believe me, I've seen worse versions of each of these characters, but I've also seen much better versions of each of these characters. So maybe some of my disappointment in this is tempered by the fact that I've seen so many different versions of the characters, and like you're saying, even you were saying like you've seen other stuff that's like whatever, but like
yeah, I mean the quality varies of like the version of the characters you see, you know, even in comic books the quality varies depending on the writer, you know.
So maybe it is a little bit worse when you have like Dragon Ball Evolution or Death Note from Netflix or Cowboy fucking Bebop, where it's like you're not drawing from a lot of different places here. You knew what you were supposed to research and you fucked it up.
Right. There's not one version of Harley Quinn or anything like that.
I should give them this. I think the creators of the show at least read the first paragraph of the wiki page for Harley Quinn and Deadshot and all these other characters, whereas the people who made Cowboy Bebop never even watched the fucking show. I can say that for absolutely certain. So hey, if we're gonna compare it to those, Suicide Squad Isekai isn't anywhere near as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution. But to be fair, very low bar to clear.
I mean, I will say it was produced by Warner Brothers Japan, and it was animated by Wit Studios, so there was some pedigree behind it.
Yeah.
No, believe me, you know what? I will give you guys this. Your reaction to the show is the general consensus of the show. I'm the outlier where I really enjoyed it. It's not that high. It's not that highly rated on Mal, and a lot of the complaints are honestly what you guys have been saying.
Yeah.
So,
I'm trying to think. What do you think, like an actual... If they made a King of the Hill anime, how do you think Japan would react?
they probably like it.
I feel like there's a lot of purists over there who are gonna... I'm wondering if they would react to this the same way that we react to, like, Dragon Ball Evolution and some stuff like that.
They might.
I'd be interested.
I hear they could, like, argue.
Horrified, but interested.
Sub versus dub for King of the Hill.
I mean, you figure King of the Hill is basically a slice of life anime. When you think about it.
It is.
And slice of life anime are popular, so
yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be one of those situations like this past year when Adult Swim made the Rick and Morty anime and nobody liked it because they just felt like, why does this exist?
Yeah, what was the purpose of that?
I didn't watch it. I didn't want to. I was just, why? I don't know.
A strange
thing. To be fair, I feel like I've fallen off from Rick and Morty anyway. So,
fair.
I don't know. If we talked about what happened in these 3 episodes at all, plot-wise, I know we talked a little bit.
They go to a medieval world.
I guess I'm just trying to cover my bases here.
Yeah, I mean, first episode is the setup. Amanda Waller tells him you have 72 hours to solve the issue with the world. And then, or like if you don't reset your timers in your head every 72 hours, you go bloom.
Yeah, I mean, the Suicide Squad shebang.
I mean, yeah.
And then they get thrown in prison. And then they're out of prison. And then they go fight Ratcatcher. And they beat him.
Yeah. I did like how nobody understands them initially. They don't speak the language, so they have to try and, solve everything by, I guess, talking their ass off or something like that. So I did like that aspect of it.
I like how the one guy that was in prison a while picked up the language from other prisoners, and he was like, I can kind of communicate with them, and he was just like hurling slurs at them. That one like footman.
Yeah, that's kind of...
That made me giggle.
Yeah. To be fair, that guy was Rick Flag. He's the guy whose katana usually has his back. I have to fit that line in somewhere.
They're not even in the same dimension, so how's that working out for him?
Yeah, they're not in the same dimension. And he also died in the James Gunn one. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Katana didn't have his back.
What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad? I hate to get that line in there, too.
Yeah. You guys watch sub or dub? We watched a little bit of both.
Sub.
Dub.
I didn't particularly enjoy either, if I'm being honest.
I thought the sub was better.
Yeah, I liked Harley's voice, and I liked having Dio's voice as Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Hold up, Dio is Peacemaker, but he's so non-expressive.
Well, in the sub. That was Dio's
like,
voice
did he
actor.
do anything interesting?
In later episodes, he gets a lot more crazy.
Maybe I'll look up some clips.
There's a scene in one of the later episodes where he has to torture a goblin to get information, or a goblin or an elf, I forget which one, and he goes full peacemaker mode. Let's put it that way.
Does he go full John Cena?
I haven't seen the Peacemaker show, so I don't know how violent.
Yeah, but
he
you
gets
saw
in
the
that
movie,
show.
right?
Yeah,
Does he go full John Cena?
kinda. He gets naked at one point.
That's kind of
Whoa.
cool, I guess.
Well, no, they
Peacemaker
literally
does like to get naked.
Well, no. The funny part is that after a mission goes wrong, at one scene they go to a bar and all of them get shit faced, and Peacemaker ends up naked, cuddling one of the bar owners or the barkeeper.
That's a pretty John Cena thing to do, if we're all being like real about it.
Peacemaker likes to get naked is such a funny statement to hear after this character spent pretty much the entire time on screen with a bag over his head.
Yeah, what was with the bag? Does anyone know?
He doesn't like to show his face. He likes to wear his
face
helmet
will
constantly.
ruin the mission.
Yeah,
I guess because he didn't have his helmet or whatever.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
I think I told you he had like performance anxiety in the show. If he didn't have his helmet, if he didn't have a dove of peace on the gun that he was using, he was a little like...
He's just really particular.
He's bizarrely a character who's so in his own head so much.
Damn.
Yeah.
But not as close.
But yeah, other than the helmet, he likes getting naked a lot. To be fair,
The helmet stays on.
the helmet stays on during. I think that, yeah, I think he, in the show, he had a three-way with someone who was like, the helmet stays on. To be fair, his buddy was also wearing his mask. So, yeah. I'm gonna have to look it back up. He might have kept maybe he didn't. I don't know. He's naked a lot, but to be fair, it's John Cena. The man's worked for his body quite well. So, I'll give him, what, you want to show off? It's like The Rock. He goes shirtless all the time.
Yeah.
What else is there to talk about here?
Did you I know you're not you're probably not a VTuber fan, but did you like the ending song? Because that was sung by Maury Calliope, the VTuber.
I don't know
Yes.
who that is. It was, you know what? I'll say this. It feels, this is exactly the ending that I would have thought a show like this would have. Very, very much aesthetic and not a whole lot else.
I honestly felt the exact opposite. I loved the song. It's one of my favorite ED songs that came out this year, but they could have easily made the ED where it's just Harley doing sexy poses. But no, they made it Waller. That's who we all wanted to see doing the sexy dances.
I gotta be real. That's exactly I feel like you're proving my point. It's literally just, hey, we have these characters. We don't know anything about them. Just make them do stuff.
No, I think it was more of subverting expectations. I think they knew people would wanted to see Harley be sexy, but it's like, no, we're going to troll you and put Waller.
Maybe.
I loved
I
it.
didn't
But
see it, yeah.
I'm saying again, as a whole, who these people are doesn't matter. We wrote a thing. It's a generic thing. It doesn't matter who these characters might be in whatever interesting way. We're just going to have them do whatever because it doesn't matter. And it'll be flashy, and it'll look pretty, and it'll be very aesthetic because that's the only thing that they cared about. The same way that Dragon Ball Evolution only cared about having a character named Goku look for a Dragon Ball. That's the whole thing, right?
Or like the first Haunted Mansion movie. It was just like a generic haunted house story that they dropped in references to the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
But the new one that just came out, it was like about the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capital letters.
Hey, maybe that means one day we'll get a Suicide Squad anime that's actually about it. 'Cause this isn't. That's the problem. Like, what did they add? I feel like you could have taken any characters and made this show. And it didn't fucking matter where they came from or who they were. So what's the point? Because DC wanted to get an anime? I don't know. To do one that's actually good.
I think, there could be a lot of good DC animes if, like I said, they
We're
wanted
gonna
to
be
make,
we're gonna be watching some this month.
Yeah, if they want to take like a whole like even universe out of it or whatever, I feel like there could be really good ones, just like the animated universe in the 90s or whatever. But I would prefer if they stick closer and they don't drift off into isekais and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be interesting to explore in like multiple animes if they wanted to like stick closer to the world of the comics, you know?
Yeah, you want to adapt something, just adapt something. I feel like do I sound like I'm getting heated? Because I don't feel heated.
Yeah, you're getting
like I'm almost more heated. I want to be mad at this.
You sound like you are.
I'm not mad.
Like
I'm sitting.
You're mad, aren't you?
I'm not mad!
I'm getting the feeling you're upset.
No! No! I'm not upset! I'm not!
You're
I
just
don't know how I'm
disappointed.
coming across in the sound of my voice. I'm just sitting here. My face isn't hot. I'm not like angry in any way.
It's not Mr. Poppy.
No, that'll piss me off. You want to that makes me so irrationally angry.
It's not on that level.
Oh my god. I still
Mr.
have to
Poppy?
maybe at some point. It's you know what?
I'm sorry, I got you off on it.
The movie is called Nativity 2: Danger in the Manger.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we watched the movie solely based on the title. It's a terrible movie. I fucking hate it.
I don't even
It
think
might
we
have
saw
been-
Nativity 1.
No, we didn't. We had no idea. We saw David Tennant was in it. We were like, Nativity 2, Danger in the Manger. It was Christmas time. We were like, okay, this has to be hilarious. And I ended up absolutely fucking hating it. And it just got me so irrationally, genuinely mad. And
I think we've talked
understand
about
it.
this before.
This is making me disappointed. And I'm almost disappointed that I wanted to hate it more. Or I wanted it to be worse in some way. That way I could have gotten some ironic, funny enjoyment out of it. Or something. I wanted this to be crazier. I wanted this to be, I don't know, something else. And it's just so middle of the road. I don't use this term, but this is the most mid-show I think I've seen for a DC property.
But do you prefer the Damien saga? Because I don't.
They had some pretty fun moments. There's a couple bits here and there. We are talking about the animated movies, right? Like
Yeah.
Court of Owls and stuff like that.
Like the Court of Owls that was not the Court of Owls.
It's a shame because I do like that.
That's actually a
thing.
really
It's
good comic
pretty
book,
good.
and it just ruined it. I'd take this over that any day. I'm sorry.
You know, for the Damien saga, Damien isn't in it that much.
I just call it that because
No,
that's the
I know.
only thing that connects them together.
Because what are the other ones?
The Batcat thing, which was stupid, and it was trying to be Hush, but it was not Hush.
I thought they did do Hush, and it was not.
That was the Batcat thing.
So it was,
That was
Hush.
the same movie. It was Hush.
Okay, that one's...
But I
That one,
focused more on Batman and Catwoman's love story than
here's
Hush.
the thing. That, again, you're right, it is worse. But I can actively be angry at it.
Oh, okay. So it's the enjoyment of hating on it that makes it
Yeah,
better.
I'm more
Okay.
disappointed today than anything else.
Gotcha.
Which is why I say mid. And it's like, what was that scale? What was that scale that we had of like, or who was he? Jello Apocalypse or someone had the scale of like a 10 is an amazing movie. A negative 10 is an amazing movie, but it's horrible. The Room is a negative 10. It's so enjoyable, but it's awful. And then you have stuff that's in a 0. A 0 is there's neither quality nor enjoyment out of this. It's just boring. If you liked this show, more power to you. Anyone out there listening?
And envy.
I'm disappointed.
I mean,
I'm
you're entitled to your
sad.
opinion. I mean,
I don't know if it sounds that way because I think I naturally have an angry face and an angry voice. I'm sad.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I didn't really have. I was more under. Like, I remember when this got announced. I think it was at like an anime expo or I forget where it was at, but
Sounds
like
about right.
it came out of nowhere, and for me, I was just like, this is like a meme. Like, this is like what they're actually making a Suicide Squad Isekai, and it's being made by a reputable studio and has talent in the creative side. It's like, why is this? Why does this exist? And I just watched the show every week when it came out this past summer, and I was like, is this the best thing in the world? No. Is there a lot of generic stuff in it? Yes. But I'm just watching it just because I'm enjoying these characters interacting with each other, and like I said, I enjoyed it more than the first Suicide Squad movie. It's nowhere near as good as a James Gunn film. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that it's on the same level, but it's more of, you know what? If you want to turn your brain off for 6 hours or 5 hours, how long it lasts, I think it's fine.
I kind of wish this was a meme. I like memes. Could have used more memes. It would have aged even worse, but I don't know. I'm tired. You know what this is? You know what this is? Cece, this is your fault. You told me that the only movies that you had seen were Batman v Superman and the 2016 Suicide Squad movie. It got me depressed out the gate. You've ruined... I am disappointed and my week has been ruined.
I mean, to be fair, our friend Gab, she said that she only ever saw the Batman before. She never saw any other Batman movies.
Okay, but that's actually a good movie. That's a good Batman movie.
I do like that one.
But, like, she never saw The Dark Knight. She never saw Batman Begins or the Tim Burton one.
Okay, but if you said to me the only Batman movie you'd ever seen was Batman v Superman,
That's worse.
Yeah,
I would
that's
be
so much
depressed. That's a lot worse.
It's like,
Who hurt
can
you in
DC
your life?
make anything good? Well, the person I saw that movie with. We don't need to go there.
Okay, yeah. Someone hurt you in your life. Yoy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to call my girl up and be like, did you watch the Suicide Squad anime? And see her opinion on it. Because she really liked the first movie.
Oy. You know, I know you didn't like the first one. Watch the 2021 James Gunn Suicide Squad is what it's called.
I meant to.
Good. A lot more enjoyable, a lot more fun. I think the cast just did better because they think they've had something more to work with. And it wasn't like doing that thing that and the Justice League movie did, where it's like, hey, let's have a person direct it, but then we'll have someone else edit it, and then we'll have it re-edited, and then we'll do like a bunch of it. Oy.
To be fair, I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan, but there was a reason why he left the Justice League theatrical cut.
Yes,
DC and
there
James.
was a lot going on in his life. There was a whole bunch. I'm not saying that he did a bad thing by doing that or anything like that. This is from a producer's end.
Yeah, DC and Josh Whedon completely fucked that version of the movie up.
Management at Warner Brothers has not been great for a while. Let's be real. And I think that's a large issue that painted a lot of the things that have occurred. But I don't know. We'll see how other things go as we continue. Do we need any other final thoughts? You just want to go around? I'm a nay. I didn't enjoy this. I wanted to either love it more or hate it worse, and this is a nay.
I'm just pretty much a meh, you know. I don't feel any real desire to continue this, but it wasn't the worst thing that I've ever seen connected to DC Comics. It just also wasn't the best or, you know, something I really look forward to. So I'm just like squarely meh about it.
We have read All-Star Batman and Robin. So
but that one's so bad it's good.
Oh, that's what I wanted.
It's hilarious. Anyway.
Just imagine if they ever made like a fan, because DC will never actually give that an adaptation. Imagine if they made a fan like web series on it, like almost it's like an unabridged series.
Someone made a really good like in prose like fan fiction of that. That was really funny.
I just want to see it fully animated. I'm the goddamn Batman.
Hey man, you got to give it this compliment. The art's fucking great.
The art is great.
Yeah. So
I mean, Frank Miller drew it, right?
No. Are you
it would
fucking
be
no?
horrible if he drew it.
Okay.
Look up
I didn't know if he was an
All-Star
artist
Batman. Who
too.
is it? Jim Lee?
It is Jim Lee.
Jim Lee's amazing. Yeah. Frank Miller.
If Frank
I knew
Miller
he
drew it, I don't
wrote
think
it,
I would have
but-
made it through it.
Frank Miller is a writer who occasionally draws.
Okay.
That's the best compliment I can give him.
Fair enough.
He doesn't know anatomy.
As far as this show, I mean, I already watched it. Gave it a decent score on Mal. I'm a yay. I'm not a full like high yay, but I'm a yay. I enjoyed it.
I'll give this one a meh. It was not worse than the original movie, but I'm not really a fan of isekais. I'm trying to think if I've ever enjoyed one.
Didn't enjoy Slime?
No, I hated slime.
Oh my
Oh no!
goodness. There's a webtoon called The Ultimate Florist you might like. Dude goes into I mean it's easy. It's you know, it's a video game virtual world, and he's like, everyone's like, oh, you can fight and you can do all these sort of things. He's like, I want to open a flower shop. That's what I want to do. But the problem is he's also like a super buff like gym bro, and he's like, I want to open a flower shop. It's gonna be the best flower shop ever. And he accidentally becomes the most powerful person in the universe. And the whole time it's just like, this is getting in the way of me running my flower shop.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty funny.
The animation's fine. I like the fight choreography. Harley's cute. I always love a Harley. And the ending is a real bop. Watch it. Maybe don't watch the show, but at least go watch the ending.
It was nice. I can say that. I think I ragged on it because I'm like, this is endemic of the entire problem of this series. But it's like, no.
It's a pretty good song.
It's a good song. It's catchy. I might listen to it later.
Mandy breaks it down.
All right. I think I'm spent. Let's, next week. I remember enjoying this when I watched it. Gotham Knight. It's a series of OVAs that were produced between the movie Batman Begins and The Dark Knight that kind of like bridged the gap a little bit between the year that Christian Bale's Batman was operating in Gotham and doing stuff. So we got a couple, I think there was a few different animation studios who were involved with it, some different directors, writers, and different stuff like that. So we're going to see a couple different styles of things. We're going to see a couple different versions of Batman, which is one of my favorites. And yeah. After that, Batman Ninja and Lego Batman.
Woo.
I feel like things are going to start to get weird, and I'm going to really enjoy it. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!